The AI takeover has already started. Entire departments are being replaced by smart, automated agents, and the tools that we once relied upon, like Google, are quickly becoming outdated. The way we work, the way we search, the way we build online is about to be rewritten. But I don't want you missing out on this moment while thousands of others are building businesses, income, and freedom off the back of it. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I think about it and how I build AI agents myself. I'm going to give you 3 incredible business opportunities, which are the AAA model, the ACE model, and the AI SaaS model. Then I will finish on the most important thing of all. Once you have put together your AI business, it's then how do you find customers and scale your business sustainably over time, even if you are starting with $0. So let's get into it. I have personally built 3 8-figure tech companies, and I've invested in over 50 companies myself since 2011. I've seen social media take over, e-commerce and mobile apps becoming mainstream, crypto and blockchain blowing up, and I genuinely say that AI is bigger than all of that. It's more similar to the invention of the internet, the invention of the computer chip, or even the invention of electricity. It isn't just a technology, it's more like the electricity that's going to power every piece of future technology. In the last 15 years of working in new technology, I have seen so many people pick the wrong industry. Right now, everyone is obsessed with content creation or coding assistants, which are already super saturated with VC funding. However, non-obvious physical world problems are still wide open. Supply chain, admin, home services, think boring businesses. So stage 1 is pick the niche, who and what you're doing. So before you build anything, ask yourself, who am I helping and what is the problem that I am solving? So don't chase whatever trend you see blow up on social media. You want to be strategic and not reactive. So I will be walking you through the 3 best AI businesses to start. And if you get this part wrong, everything else becomes harder. So here's how I would approach your who and your what. Start with something you're already really familiar with, or something that's clearly full of friction. So ask yourself, what do I already understand deeply? What workflows do I know inside and out? What problems do people waste time on and waste money on? Then focus on serving rich people or industries with a lot of money. Not because they're better in any way, but because they have budget, they have urgency, and they have a willingness to pay. If someone doesn't have the money, they might love your product or your solution, but they're not going to buy it. Whereas someone who's running a 7-figure coaching business or a 30 million e-commerce brand, they will happily pay $2,000, $10,000 or more to save time, reduce their headcount, or just to grow faster. You don't need to overthink niche selection. You just need to solve a painful problem for people who have real money. So now you know how to build a critical skill and who you're going after. It's time to dig into how to build the one thing that everyone is talking about. Stage 2 is learning how to build AI agents right now. So if you haven't heard of them already, think of it like this. AI tools are the workers who build the house, whereas an AI agent is the project manager behind the team who is assessing their work, giving feedback, improving the outcomes, and stitching together the whole project autonomously. So in day-to-day terms, these agents can do most repetitive tasks for you. They can draft proposals, update and analyze reports, and book appointments, all without you lifting a finger. The most important thing is simply understanding how they work and what they can do for you. The biggest problem right now is that most content on how to build AI agents is quite technical, and therefore it's quite hard to actually implement. But in reality, they are so much easier to learn than you might think. In fact, I will show you right now how to build your very own agent in the space of about 5 steps. So step 1 is simply thinking of a task that you're constantly repeating every single day. So a good example here, if you run a business, is responding to inquiries as they come in. So a customer will email you or go through your website and place an inquiry with your business. Step 2 would be figuring out the manual workflow that you go through right now from when that inquiry comes in to when you reply to that customer and you set up a meeting with that customer. So in my business, that might be the inquiry comes in, one of the sales teams will look at the inquiry and see whether it is a spam inquiry or a real inquiry. And then they will go and research the customer and they'll put together a small report, who the customer is, what company they work for, how many headcount that company has, how much money that company has. and as a result can tailor the response that they put together. And so based on their own, training from our team, they will be able to put together a really good response, which is unique to that customer and also relies on how we have previously responded to dozens or hundreds of other customers previously. Step 3 would effectively be digitizing and creating an automatic workflow based on the manual workflow that we spoke about before. So step 1 would be a small agent that makes a decision based off dozens or hundreds of previous inquiries. What is a legitimate inquiry and what is a spam inquiry? So it only takes forward legitimate inquiries. The next step in that process would be the agent effectively scouring the internet, doing loads of research on the person based on all the parameters we spoke about before, including headcount and turnover and so forth and what they're looking for. Then it would put together a report based on it is a legitimate inquiry, this is the person it is with all of their information here, and now go and draft an email to that person based on thousands of emails we've previously sent to, warm and hot inquiries before. And please consider all the information that's relevant to that individual. And so what then would happen next is it would then draft an email based on all of the previous information, and they could store that email in your draft emails within your Gmail. It could also then send you a WhatsApp to say, we have drafted this and stored it in the email for a human approval. And so at that point, you would get a WhatsApp and you say, okay, I have an inquiry to look at, which has a drafted response based on all the information that my agent has put together. You might then decide that you actually want to take it a step further. You might edit and approve and send the email, and you might have an automation set up within the email that if that person comes back and wants to have a conversation, the AI might even be able to have a full flowing conversation with that person and book in a meeting with them as your booking agent. And so there's so much you're able to automate that currently you're doing manually. And so the key is learning the basics of N8N, including things like connecting accounts, editing parameters, so you can start digitizing these workflows that you have. It might sound complicated and it might take a bit of time, but you can shorten this by watching loads of tutorials, and once you do, it will save you so much time and money. Step 4 is testing your workflow to see if it works. And again, this is going to take a bit of back and forth to see whether the automation is as good as the manual human work. But ultimately, you can keep tweaking that until it works. But I can tell you from a personal perspective, when I ran my agency in my 20s, which is over 15 years ago now, we had someone whose full-time job it was to research inquiries that came in, decide whether they were good inquiries or not good inquiries, go and research the individual who'd got in touch with us and put together a mini report on them, and then draft a response that their senior manager could look at. And so that whole person's job that used to exist within my agency when we were younger now is a full automation that runs continuously in the background and probably is more thorough and more detailed than that person was at the time. And then step 5 is just continuous testing and seeing how far you can expand it. So it might start as it detects whether it's spam or real. It might then evolve to a research bot. It might then evolve to a writing and drafting bot. It might then evolve to the calendar booking part of what we've been talking about. And so testing and iterating, improving, and at the end of the day, the more information that you feed into the system, the more likely it is to write and think like you. So now you know the basics for setting up your first agent. It's time to go into stage 3, which is finding actual business models that you can take advantage of right now. And so number 1 is the AI Agent Deployment Agency, the AAA model. Now, if you've spent time learning how to use and build AI agents with, Make or Crew AI or N8N, the next natural step is how can you do that for other people? You can take that skill and start solving real world problems for businesses out there who have repetitive tasks and they don't know how to do them, and they have human beings doing continuously repetitive tasks. The best bit, honestly, is that you don't need to be extremely experienced. You don't need a big following and you don't need a lot of money or a team to offer this service. In fact, there is a guy on Instagram right now called Owen the AI Guy. He's 23 years old and he is making 30 to 40,000 a month using this exact model. So I think this proves, honestly, that anyone who's going to work hard and can put in the action can make 5 figures a month deploying agents for businesses. So here's a 4-step process that I would use to get started. So step 1 is find the right customer. You want to start by targeting high revenue businesses where the team is overwhelmed with repetitive work. I think there's 2 ways of doing this. Either you can go for new businesses, and so you can go onto websites like Crunchbase and find businesses who have just raised money who will be struggling with automation problems. Or you can think the complete opposite way and approach big local businesses offering to deliver AI automations for their business. And you can do it for free to begin with to get case studies. You can do it for a low price to get case studies. You could do it based on, I'm going to deliver this, and if the outcome saves you X amount, I will take a percentage of that. And so there are loads of different ways you can approach this. Personally, right now, if I was starting from scratch, I would offer AI solutions to big, old, boring, slow businesses, because those are the businesses that are going to see massive improvement, and you're going to have a massive impact on their business, and they have the money, they're profitable, and they will pay you. Step 2 is to build results fast. So like I say, even if this means first one is free, second one is cheap, pick one specific task to solve and deploy a simple agent to do it. The goal is to get a quick result. The goal is to get quick value for the customer. And the key here is if you're able to deliver quick and good value for the customer will buy into you, but you also are able to then use what you have built, thought through, mastermind, and deliver that for other businesses. And I'm not even talking necessarily about products that will last forever. I'm talking about products that solve a specific issue in a business right now today that lots of other businesses could use. Step 3 is to document and share the result. So show what the agent did, how it helped, who it helped, post it on LinkedIn, on social media, record a Loom so others can see the value in action of what your agent did to help the business and the results it had. So step 4 is to take that result and turn it into a clear offer. Position it around the outcome and the transformation, not just the technology. So the template I would use here would be, we build agents that save 10 plus hours a week doing this task for this type of business. It is always the transformation that sells. It's not the technology. So this model isn't rocket science. This may take time to learn the skill, but we are so early in the adoption cycle right now that this means that those that can act quickly on this will make a serious amount of money and will upskill themselves a serious amount. So although this model is great, you still have to be pretty good at dealing with client relationships, which if you're not experienced in, may really hold you back. So the next business model allows you to scale quickly without actually having to deal with any clients. The second business is the AI content and education business, the ACE model. If you're already building agents, this is the most scalable way to turn that knowledge into serious, repeatable income. So the play here is simple. Teach what you're learning publicly. So whilst you're going through your own journey, teach it to everyone else. So with the goal of building a broad audience first, then you can niche down your offers once you understand what it is that your customers really want and what value they're looking for. So I still think we are incredibly early in the AI creator space. So people like Laura from Superhuman's Life, Liam Otley and Jeff Su have built massive followings, and they now monetize their brands with partnerships, digital products and communities, all within the space of a year. But there is a new wave coming. Very niche specific creators who don't just cover AI, but they teach exactly how to use it in a business context. So take Jeff Lopez, who built a 7-figure education business by documenting how he helped local businesses automate with agents. And then he turned this into a consulting business and high margin digital products. So he has effectively combined the first business we were talking about with distribution and personal brand, and has created a perfect blend of both consultancy and high leverage through audience. Now, Jeff doesn't even have a huge following online, but he's still managed to get 3,000 members to their Facebook group. He has an email list, a free school community, and over 215 people have paid for his accelerator program. So you could think of the formula here in a really simple way, which is audience first, offer second. You don't have to be an expert. You just need to share what you're doing consistently. This builds trust, and trust is what turns into sales later. This is exactly what I've done in my career. For years, I have shared the inner workings of how I've built my various businesses, and that has built a huge amount of trust with my audience and has allowed me to then build products based on that trust and that leverage. So here is my 4-step process to build a large, engaged audience who are going to buy from you. Step 1 is start documenting your journey. Share what you're building, what's working, what's not, whilst focusing on keeping it valuable for the audience. This creates connection and authority at the same time. Step 2 is to blend it with naturally pre-validated topics. So if you see a topic or an idea that blows up for a few creators, take this topic and aim to improve upon it and add your own twist. This is the fastest way to build an audience across pretty much every platform. Stage 3 is to engage and learn from your audience. As you grow, pay attention to the comments, the questions, and the DMs that you're getting. This will be your signal that tells you what people are actually struggling with and what they are willing to pay for. Step 4 is to niche your offer based on the demand. So package your knowledge into digital products, mini courses, templates, or consulting offers, but keep it focused. One clear problem, one clear result. The audience can be broad, but the offer should be focused on the problems that you found in step 3. This model will build long-term leverage. Not only will you be able to make money relatively quickly through these different streams, but building an audience gives you leverage in pretty much anything you want to do next. This is the exact reason why I would say that my career has got easier the longer I have been in the game. Because the more you have built your personal brand and your following, your audience and your reputation, the more likely people are to trust you and to want to buy into what you're doing. This equates for all things. When I was raising money for my second business, Lottie, I was able to raise 35 million because people trusted in my reputation, what I had done previously, and my personal brand. However, the next model allows you to scale far beyond your own brand and create something that can generate revenue while you sleep, and even position you for a life-changing exit. The AI SaaS business model. So if you have spotted a repeatable problem that AI can solve, especially for a specific type of business, this is the most scalable way of using AI. So instead of delivering the solution yourself, you build the tool, then businesses will pay monthly to use it again and again and again, as long as the value is there. The opportunity here is huge. In fact, there is a whole range of startups who have raised tens of millions of dollars using agents with specific industries. For example, Vappy, who raised $20 million for building a platform that can deploy AI agents into businesses for things like customer service or outbound sales calls. Or Oxy, who raised $23 million to build their business, which uses AI agents to scrape customer data and deliver tailored marketing content such as text messages, emails, and anything to help you make a purchase. Or even in my own life, a business called Say What, which is a business I helped my friend Will launch. It's an AI tech business that helps you create LinkedIn posts, and they're making about $1 million a year now with zero investment. Just the team's time and using my audience to promote the product. Now, this model has the highest ceiling, but honestly, the highest and steepest learning curve. So here is a 7-step roadmap that will help you de-risk the process and go from zero to scalable AI SaaS business. So step 1 is start with a problem, not the technology. Spend time in the niche communities and figure out problems that people are hacking together with GBT, spreadsheets, manual labor. The key to SaaS success is usually solving a painful, boring, repeatable problem. Step 2 is validate in public. So turn your hypothesis into a tweet, a Loom demo, or a landing page. You're looking for real signal here. So can I try this before it even exists? You want people on wait lists before they've even seen the product. You want to gauge that demand. Step 3 is build a focused MVP, so minimal viable product. Don't aim for the next billion-dollar startup, aim for something useful. Use no-code tools like Bubble, Retool, or N8N, and try and ship fast. Solve one core problem well, and then improve and iterate for live feedback. Step 4, price for transformation. So SaaS isn't about the cost, it's about the value. So if your product does help businesses save $5,000 a month, charge $200 a month. I actually had this in my business, Lottie. We had a SaaS product for care homes, and it saved care homes 20, 30 hours of people's time every single week. And so by its very nature, it was a premium product that we could sell for $250 per home. Step 5 is use early users as leverage. So get 10 to 20 early adopters, give them a good price, get them involved in the build of the product, give them value, consult them, support them. And those people you want to really, really, really over deliver for and get their feedback as to how you can improve the tool for them. Get testimonials, get case studies, and just keep asking them what's missing, what else can we build, what else can we do? Every single one of them is an opportunity for referrals, for content, for insight. Step 6, build your audience alongside the product. So similar to Model 2, this will only benefit you. So share what you're building, what you're learning, what you're struggling with, and when you launch, the attention will already be warmed up. So step 7 is build your SaaS with distribution in the front of your mind. So think about how you're going to raise awareness for this product constantly. So constantly be thinking, How can I get my customers to share? How can I get my customers to tell their friend? Is it an incentive program? The more they share it, the more free credits they get. That might be a nice way to think about your business on day one, is how do I get my initial customers to tell more customers about the product? So we've now covered 3 of the most successful business models that you can use right now on this AI wave. But knowing what to build is only one part of the equation. If you actually want to turn this into a real business that lasts, there are 2 things that you need to get down once you're up and running. So stage 4 is keeping distribution at the top of mind continuously. So before you chase new offers, new agents, or tools, understand this. You don't need more ideas, you need more people seeing what you're already doing. The biggest mistake that I see is building in silence. It doesn't matter how good your agent is, your education product, or your SaaS product. If no one sees it, no one can buy it. So I've invested in 50 plus businesses myself. And one of the things that I look for in founders who pitch me is I always ask, how do you plan to distribute your product? There are those that have a clear strategy and plan, and 90% of the time I invest in those that I can see clear distribution strategies. There is that famous and old saying that first-time founders think about the product and second-time founders think about the distribution. So there are 3 things that I think about when thinking about distribution. First is simply building your audience. Start sharing the journey. This could be documenting your journey or sharing relevant education or entertainment within your industry. As mentioned throughout the video, a large engaged audience gives you the best possible starting point. You don't have to rely on ads. Second is sharing proof. If you're working with clients, turn every successful project into a case study and always ask for referrals. Build this bank of evidence early and it becomes so much easier to sell down the line. A quick tip here is you can set up an automation that asks your customers every single month, how likely are you to refer this product to your friends out of 1 to 10? This is called an NPS, a Net Promoter Score. If someone scores a 7, 8, 9, or 10, you should say to them, how can we improve things for you? And do you have any friends that are looking for this service? And if they score 7 and below, you can say, what can we do to improve this service for you? And your customers will simply tell you the answers that you need to build your product. And finally, this is for those who don't have an audience already and don't want to build one. Think about partnering with someone who does have an audience. Target influencers, newsletter owners, or creators in your niche and get your offer in front of their audience. So a lot of creators struggle with monetization. So if you were to say you can keep 50% of the first year's spend of any customer who come, it starts becoming quite interesting for creators. And so a lot of the time you want to focus on getting great creators in your space who speak to your audience to use your tool. And then they can become ambassadors, they can monetize off the back of using your product, and you can get free distribution. So whatever model you're building, make distribution a core part of the process, not just something that you try and fix after. Like, don't think about marketing late. So once you have that down, the final stage is what takes it from something that pays you today to something that builds really, really long-term sustainable wealth. So this is where you stop thinking like a freelancer and start thinking like a founder and a CEO. So section 5 is building wealth for the long term. So making money with AI right now is easier and quicker than most other things. But if you want to build something that actually lasts, the real opportunity is stacking assets that pay you over time. So I've seen it play out both ways. Creator operators making $20,000 a month, but are completely tied to their businesses. Once they stop, the money stops. And before you know it, they're back to square one again. So once your business is starting to pick up some success, you should have an exit in mind. So I had this in my business Verb Brands, which I eventually sold for $25 million. I knew I had to reach $2 million of profit and 90% of our clients retained. And at that point, the business would get valued at 11 times its EBITDA profit margin. And so for the last 3 or 4 years of our business, all we focused on was how we can get our profit up to $2 million and how we can get 90% of our clients to be on long-term retained contracts. The exit we achieved was significantly higher than most agencies, and almost all decisions were based upon that target, whereas most people weren't that focused on the exit. So the goal is simple: build systems that don't need you. Start by productizing anything that you've done more than 3 times. That's a signal, honestly, that that thing can be packaged and possibly even sold. And then shift your focus to recurring revenue. Whether it's monthly support, hosted agents, digital access, find a way to be paid consistently. And finally, build every part of your business so that someone else could run it without you. That's how you create something worth buying, partnering in, or stepping back from. This is where real freedom is. While most people spend the next 5 years chasing clients or trends, you will be stacking leverage. You'll be building assets and setting yourself up to win, whether you're working or whether you're not. This is how wealth is going to be built in the AI era. And so you're right here, right on time. So if you've enjoyed this content, please give the video a like and a subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you enormously. Please check out my other videos on how to build businesses and create content.